Most conventional fundraising advice falls short for small or new nonprofits. Maybe you go online looking for help and you end up hearing the same things. Diversify your funding streams, find some big donors, find a few grants. Now, I've been advising new and growing nonprofits for a while now, and I can tell you that most of the fundraising advice you read online is written for massive institutions with huge development teams and established brands. When you try to copy paste those strategies into a startup nonprofit, you don't raise more money, you just burn yourself out. So if you've been following all of the best practices and still feel like you're spinning your wheels, take a deep breath. It's not you. It's that the playbook that you're following wasn't built for your situation. So today we are throwing out that playbook, and I'm going to break down 5 common pieces of fundraising advice that actively hurt early stage nonprofits and talk through what to focus on instead. And because I want you to actually get results, I put together a free download called the Fundraising Starter Kit. It walks you through the steps to approach multiple fundraising tactics when you're starting or growing. So if you want this kit, just drop a comment below with the words starter kit and I'll send you the link. The very first piece of advice everyone gets is you need to diversify your funding streams. People will tell you that you need events and grants and individual donors and corporate sponsors, and you need to do it all so that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket. And on the surface, that sounds logical, right? But here is the problem. For most early stage organizations, trying to do everything means you end up doing nothing particularly well. And the data on this is actually pretty interesting. A landmark study by the Bridgespan Group analyzed how the largest nonprofits in the US eventually grew and found that roughly 90% of high-growth nonprofits reached scale by focusing on a single dominant funding strategy, not actually by diversifying fundraising methods across events, grants, donors, etc. Here's why. Every fundraising strategy requires a different skill set and a different setup. It takes different skills to host huge fundraising events than it does to secure major donors. It takes different skills to write successful grant proposals than operate an earned income model. And the trick is this: organizations in this study and those that excel at fundraising overall, they aren't spreading themselves too thin by trying to do 6 different kinds of fundraising. They are identifying the top methods that match up to their mission, structure, and team's skill sets. When you spread your tiny team across all of these things, you get shallow execution. Instead, pick 1 or 2 strategies, go deep on them, and learn them inside and out. So, where and how should you diversify? In your funders. You don't ever want to rely on a single funder or donor. Even when you only focus on a few key fundraising methods or strategies, you should still be trying to attract and retain a variety of funders within them. So how do you know which fundraising methods to pick? You want to look at your mission and your team's natural strengths. You want to figure out what's going to be the best fit for you. Direct service organizations might have a leg up on attracting individual donations. Arts organizations might attract sponsors or be a good fit for earned revenue like ticket sales or charging for classes. And if you already have a proven model with some impacts under your belt, even grants might be an option. More on grants later, by the way. My advice is to test one method for 90 days. If it gains traction, double down and try to get more people participating in that exact same method. Your growth is going to come from depth and mastery first. The second piece of advice you'll hear constantly as a small nonprofit, especially from well-meaning friends, is this: you need to just find a major donor. Now, to be clear, major donations are a huge boon when you can get them, but here is where this advice quietly breaks down for small nonprofits and founders. Major donors are usually the result of building a strong social network, and they're not usually a starting point. Every nonprofit leader is different, but if you don't already have proximity to wealth networks, warm introductions, or a track record that signals credibility, then go and find major donors is not a strategy. It's just a frustrating suggestion. It's like someone saying, just go ask Bill Gates for some money. It'll be fine. Here's what actually works better early on. building a small, loyal base of regular donors who genuinely believe in your work. You want to start with the people already in your organization's orbit, your peers, colleagues, community members, and small to mid-level donors who care deeply about the issue. Think of it like, if you've heard of this, the 1,000 true fans principle. To build momentum, you need a core group of deeply committed supporters who give consistently, who talk about your work, who are ambassadors, and who grow with you. And here's the thing about major donors that nobody tells you. They are usually hiding inside your smaller donor pool under the radar. I've personally seen this play out in my own fundraising efforts. The person who gives you $50 today, who you steward well and keep connected to your mission, that's the same person who might write you a $5,000 or $10,000 check in 5 years or introduce you to someone who will. So instead of chasing a major donor you've never met, invest in the people who are already raising their hand. Build the loyal base first. The major donors will come from that foundation. Now, my fundraising starter kit will walk you through some of the initial steps to do this part. So don't forget to comment starter kit below if that's something you're interested in learning more about. Now, third is the advice: don't ask for support too soon. Build up your materials and programs first. Now, this one is directionally correct, but many people interpret this advice the wrong way. They take it as meaning they need to wait a long time before asking for anything. But in reality, you should be inviting people in early, just not always by asking for money. You should be asking earlier, but differently. Early asks look like, can I get your feedback on this idea? Or would you be open to a quick conversation? Or who else should I talk to? These asks are about introducing people to your nonprofit's mission and starting to build a strong foundation of trust and curiosity. These moments build ownership. They create emotional investment. When you ask someone for their advice, you are valuing their expertise, which makes the eventual financial ask feel like a natural progression of a relationship rather than a transaction. So the problem, like I said, isn't asking too early. It's only knowing how to ask for money and when. Fourth, and I alluded to this earlier, but we have got to talk about grants. A lot of nonprofit founders look at grants as sort of a holy grail. Look at any nonprofit Facebook group, and half the posts will be by new nonprofits looking for easy grants. But here's the reality check. Most grant funders are looking for proof of traction. They're looking for early supporters and signs that the work is already resonating in the community before they want to invest grant money. That's because grant funders are risk averse. They want to invest where there's already evidence that something is likely to succeed. And I get it. It's a frustrating loop. You want to apply for grants to get started, but grant funders are waiting to see that you've already started. But let's look at the numbers, right? So the average success rate for grant applications is only about 1 in 10. And that's usually when you already have a skilled grant writer and a strong, proven program to write about. And overall, foundation grants only make up about 19% of total U.S. charitable giving. The vast majority of giving actually comes from individuals. And let's be honest, you don't reach out to Mackenzie Scott. Mackenzie Scott's team reaches out to you, and only after you've already proven your effectiveness. And I don't want to say that grants are never useful. Grants are usually a great multiplier. They are great for scaling or growing programs or organizations with some proof of concept, but they're usually not the starting engine for fundraising. So my advice here is, it's a lot faster and less frustrating to focus on individual donations, small business sponsorships, or earned income like program fees, depending on your mission, than grants when you're starting out. Fifth, here's some common advice. Make it easy to give. You've probably heard things like reduce friction, make donating easy on your website, have a one-click button. Now, those things are actually right, but they're incomplete. Because people don't just give because it's easy. They give because it feels meaningful, it feels personal, it feels identity-driven. Here's some interesting research published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology. It talks about how one of the principal drivers of charitable giving involves a person's identity. In other words, who they are and how they view themselves. Donors are significantly more likely to give when they strongly identify with a charity's mission and when giving feels like they are acting in accordance with the type of person that they imagine themselves to be. That means that organizations that raise consistently don't just have a frictionless donate button. They use language that connects to their donors' values and identity. Whether their mission is about creating a more fair world, whether it's about giving people a second chance or righting wrongs out there in the world, they show the human impact clearly, they connect the donor directly to the outcome, and they reinforce a sense of connection and belonging. So ease helps that conversion, but meaning is what drives generosity and retention. And retention, that is getting first-time donors to come back and donate again in the future, is critical, because once someone is inspired to donate 2, 3, or 4 times, their likelihood of donating every year increases significantly. Speaking of making it easy to donate online, I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Click and Pledge. Click and Pledge makes it easy for nonprofits to start their fundraising strong and scale it with confidence, and empower their boards and their volunteers to help raise money for your cause too. With Click and Pledge, you're going to get professional grade tools for super affordable startup level costs from day one. They've got customizable donation forms that you can plug right into your website, and a ton of other tools and features included in their affordable flat monthly costs that you can use as your nonprofit is growing. They've got things like in-person features where you can collect donations right at events, peer-to-peer fundraising features, video fundraising with embedded donation links right in the videos, text to give tools, donor management and custom reports, Salesforce and other integrations. Like I said, all included with no contracts or surprise add-on fees. Now, unlike some platforms that increase your fees as you grow, Click and Pledge pricing is going to stay the same whether you have 10 donors or 10,000 donors. So you can use the QR code and link in the description below to check out Click and Pledge, book a demo, and get your first $25 monthly fee waived. At the end of the day, fundraising when your organization is new or small is not about a perfectly diversified portfolio of 7 different revenue streams or a massive passive audience. It's about having a deep, focused approach to building genuine relationships with the right people and funders at the right time. So here's your homework. Take a hard look at your fundraising strategy. Are you spreading yourself too thin, trying to do what the big organizations are doing? Pick the one method that you want to go deep on and start having real conversations. And remember, if you want my step-by-step guide for getting started with different fundraising methods, comment the words starter kit below, and I will leave you the link to get my free fundraising starter kit. If you want to go deeper than what I can share here on YouTube, our free weekly newsletter is where I share more strategies and tips that I just can't fit into a video. To link to that, you'll find it in the comments below or in the description, and you can always find it on my website, changemakercafe.com. And if you want to learn more about how to make your mission and message more attractive to funders, I highly recommend this video here. I'm Amber Melanie Smith, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.